Hi, I'm Aché Abrahams, Miss World Trinidad and Tobago 2022, and this is my OMG interview. On November 6th, I won the title of Miss World Trinidad and Tobago, and that night is a night I will always remember. It was a bit fearful, it was exciting, it was all the words that you could imagine, but at the end of it, I really think it was a dream come true. Well, it was always a dream of mine. When I was younger, I actually entered a pageant when I was 14, and unfortunately, I dropped out because I didn't think that I had the courage to be up on that stage. So when I decided to go back into this world, it was actually an accomplishment because I realized my confidence grew a lot. Thanks to my mother, actually, she sent me the flyer for the screening. And I went, and it was an emotional screening. I remembered crying in front of the judges, and it was a bit embarrassing. But it was in that moment that I realized how much it meant for me to be there. And I really saw that I was representing more than myself. I was representing the younger girl who didn't have that confidence, who wasn't sure where she stood in the world or what she had to offer on that stage. But now, I mean, with the crown, it feels incredible to now have that full circle moment. It is, for me, I love anything that pushes you outside of your boundaries. And I've bungee jumped. Bungee jumping is something I say at that moment, you have those doubts, like, can I do this? And funny enough, when I was about to jump off of that height, I thought to myself, but can I do this? And before I could even finish that thought, I just jumped off. And I think that's how I approach everything in life. It's like, before you even begin to second guess, why don't you just go and see how it goes? And I think I did jump into my fear from what I felt back then, but now it led me to something so beautiful, and I'm a stronger person and I have more courage. So I think I encourage everyone to just dive into your fears and have faith. So I've always been surrounded by other women. I went to an all-girls high school, St. Joseph's Convent, St. Joseph. My experience was beautiful with all the ladies. We had such a sisterhood, a bond, and we were able to really explore ourselves and new opportunities for us to really grow. But as well as having that personal experience, you're surrounded by other women who are also going through that. So it was beautiful. I thought it was a bonding experience, and I'm still in touch with a lot of them. And we are planning things together, events, and it was a blessing, really, because I think Miss World overall focuses on that sisterhood. It's about what we're doing as a collective. You know, we may be representing, well, at that time I was representing where I was from, Maracas Valley, and they're representing Arima, Chaguanas, Glencoe, all over Trinidad and Tobago. But now, as Miss World Trinidad and Tobago, I'm meeting other women who are representing their countries as well. So it's always about coming together and what we could continue to generate within our spaces, but take it into the world. The Aché who entered that screening that day at Bricks Hotel is the same Aché that's here before you. She's still crazy and creative and fun and ready to bungee jump and cliff dive and go to the beach. But at the same time, she has found so much more purpose and direction in her life. She's found her voice. She's spread her wings to fly. And I really feel like this experience has changed me so much, while also keeping the core of who I am. So it's interesting because I am, of course, the same person, but I just feel like I'm more of myself, and I'm just ready to show the world who she is. I definitely saw everyone evolve. It was so interesting because I don't think any of us expected how much we could change in a span of 2 months. But I definitely saw us all shape ourselves into something more than what we were when we entered. And I think that's any experience, really, when you're fully involved, and especially when you become more and more passionate, you begin to explore more of yourself. And because of the challenges and because of the wins that happen in any space, it's allowed us all to really show more of ourselves and find out more about ourselves. But I've seen so many of us change into more developed women, and we're more aware of what our purpose is and what we have to give Trinidad and Tobago. So I really think it's a great experience for any woman out there or young woman who wants to come and experience it. I definitely say it's a great platform to explore yourself, but also to explore that with other people in the same space with the same mindset as you. I'm 23. Childhood for Aché, well, Okay, she used to climb every tree in sight, mango tree, plum tree, anything she could, and fall off half the time, but that's fine. I was bruised up. All my knees had bruises and cuts, and I used to play football. I used to always be fighting the boys, my brother specifically, who I won all the time against him. She was very adventurous. She was very free-spirited. She was always expressive. I always dressed, you know, some people may think it was crazy, but I loved it. You know, I was very expressive from a young age. And I had different phases. I had the tomboy phase with the snapbacks and big t-shirts, to the girly stage with the ballerina tutus and the crowns like this. So I think I was generally a very creative and expressive child. And thankfully I was in an environment where my parents really nurtured that. So I'm blessed in that sense. My parents are the best parents in the world. They are incredible. My father has always told me from a young age, you have the strength of 1,000 lions. And that's something that always stuck with me, because he's seen me, of course, grow up, and he's always encouraged me to be a strong woman and to use my voice and to stand in my uniqueness and my power. And then my mother, equally, same thing. I thankfully have a mother who is a role model to me always. I mean, just being a mother alone, I find, is something commendable. But on top of that, she is a pioneer in her industry, which is the animation industry. And I mean, it's encouraging to me to see a woman of color be so strong and resilient and ambitious and do it so gracefully. So I'm really blessed to have two amazing role models in my life. My brothers are annoying, but I love them. It's funny because growing up, like I said, I used to always fight with them. We used to always pull pranks on each other, and it was amazing childhood. I'm really blessed to have that. And they're my protectors at the end of the day. Even my younger brother, who swears he's the older brother, by how he acts, you would think he is. He is taller, but that doesn't matter. He's 6 foot, I'm not as tall. But they've always been protective and really, really guiding me. And my sister has always been a role model to me. She's beautiful inside and out. And I'm really, really just grateful to have her, because at the end of the day, when I do have tough days, I just go to her and call her and say, hey, I just need to talk. And I mean, I'm blessed. I'm really, really blessed. I think family is my rock. That's my rock in my life. My most challenging moment was maybe getting out on that stage, because it's going from a 14-year-old girl who wanted to do that and end up backing out of a pageant because I was so afraid of going out there and saying, this is me, look at me, to now being the 23-year-old woman who is here now and went out on that stage and said, look at me, this is who I am. It was great, but it was a challenge too to get to that point. I think it was still a point psychologically where I was trying to encourage myself along the way that this is exactly where you need to be. And I mean, this is why I say to everyone, whoever has those moments of self-doubt, to continue to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, because I mean, I got the crown and there was still that voice within me saying, maybe this isn't right, maybe you aren't good enough, maybe this, maybe that. But the reality is, once you believe in yourself and you don't hold yourself back, there are a lot of things that you could accomplish. Well, I always say comparison is the thief of joy, because especially in a space where you are on a stage with all these beautiful, talented, incredible women, you could tend to judge yourself harsher, and you question, well, what is it about me that makes me stand out? What makes me different from them? And those were the thoughts I was having. What is it that, you know, why should they pick you? How would you best represent Trinidad and Tobago? And the reality is, it was just by being me. And I think everyone, once you step into your uniqueness and embrace who you are, that's what gives you your strength. Because the reality is, we all got picked for a specific reason to be part of the 17 delegates. And when you look at someone else and judge yourself and compare yourself and lose that sense of yourself and the essence of what makes you you, why you're not yourself anymore, and then you lose what they picked you for, which is you being you. So I had to really encourage myself every day to know that you are perfectly imperfect how you are, and to embrace all your quirks and everything that you may think is not so great. It's what makes you you. Yes, I am definitely, my mother always says, I will do 110% for whatever I set my mind to. And I don't stop until I get what I really want. And I think it's a great mindset to have, because it's easy to want instant gratification or instant success, but a lot of the times you have to really put in 100%. And a lot of people won't see what you do behind the scenes. But throughout this process, I went home every day. I was researching, I was practicing whatever we learned that day. I would run through it again and again and again until it was better and better and better. And I think that's my strength, my mindset. When it comes to something, I won't stop until I'm the best that I can be. It may not be the best in the room, but my best version is good enough for me. The biggest lesson I learned throughout this experience was trusting God and trusting divine timing, because I think everything that's happening now for me was just an accumulation of things that have been happening slowly leading me to this point. I think it's important that we understand when we may think things are not going as they should be, or things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. So this experience really taught me that with consistency and with patience, that you can achieve anything that you really desire. I am not thinking about love or relationships at all. I honestly am very happy in my solitude. And not to say, I'm not a Scrooge. If it comes my way, it comes my way. But right now, it's just not a priority for me. I think I have a lot on my plate, and I have a lot of people really relying on me. And that's a good thing for me, because it keeps me focused. And I'm focused on much bigger things. I think we all have regrets. Secretly, there are things that happen in life that you may regret happened or didn't happen, but I've learned to not give it power, because I think everything happens for a reason. So with that narrative, it's allowed me to really embrace everything that has happened or hasn't happened, to know that it was for the greatest good. My legacy, I always said I have a lot of ambitions in a lot of different areas in my life. So it's not one particular goal, but for me, it would be to show that if people could say, well, she was a girl who always knew what she wanted and she didn't stop until she got it, and she achieved everything she ever aimed for, that's what I want my legacy to be. From that girl to a woman who is successful and happy and respected and accomplished, and someone overall who people can look up to and know that she did it just by believing in herself, and that they can do it also. I think I have a lot of dreams, because one, I want to be an actress. That's something I always said I wanted to do, an actress in film, because it's a very tough industry to really make it, but I think it's possible. I also would love to continue to use my voice and my platform to have talks, whether it be TED Talks or hopefully work in the United Nations and be involved in really important conversations. I also want to hopefully be a mother one day with a beautiful family, and there are a lot of different things, I think, sides to myself, and I think it's really just about what chapter it is in my life. But I'll always be evolving, because I've always loved art as well, writing, music. There's a lot of dreams. It's kind of crazy to think, you have one lifetime, and I think I can explore all of these things. Well, my Beauty with a Purpose project is focused around mental health awareness, and I just want to use this platform to continue to speak about mental health, or cognitive health, as we love to say, because it's important that we have these conversations so that no one is suffering in silence. And I want anyone out there who is wondering if they're good enough, if they're worthy, if they're beautiful enough, whatever those thoughts may be saying to you, I want you to know that you are perfectly imperfect how you are. Embrace everything about yourself and know that you are not alone in experiencing these feelings. And if I can sit here with the crown on my head and smile, you can smile as well. So I'm sending you love, and I hope that you find your happiness and what makes you happy. So that's it. I am Aché Abrahams, Miss World Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you for watching my OMG interview. You can follow me on Instagram, ACHEABRAHAMS. Bye!